Okay, good evening everyone, and a Freilich and Shushan Purim to everybody here as we welcome in Yitzi Muller and Irving Fishbaum and Shimon Klein, Nachum Umansky, Nachman Chapler, Yitzi Fuchs, Shimon Deer, Moshe Lehman, Shelley Zeitlin, Naftali Javelin, Abe Arbach, and here in the shul, we are graced by Berish Gesserman and Reb Kramer, Gedalia Engel, Avram Rezepkowitz, Michal Avram, Ruvain Shanit, as we welcome in Ilya Shutman on this wonderful Shushan Purim, as we are dedicated by A.B. Spry for the nachas from his whole family, and by Michal Avram, that everyone should finish Shas with Gesund and Havana, understanding. We are holding at the Gemara on the bottom of Daf Kaf Hey Amid Beis, and we said that if Yitzi finds in a heap or in an old wall, he finds some gems, then he could keep it. Tana, he could tell the present owner of the area, Shel Emeroyim Hain. They belong to the Emorites from ancient times. This was in Eretz Yisrael. And those days, Eretz Yisrael was possessed by the Amoraim, says the Gemara. But who says it was so ancient? Maybe it belonged to the ancestral owners of the one who's living in the property. Otu Amoraim mitznei Yisrael loy mitznei. Yidden do not leave it there. Maybe it's his ancestors. Says the shasif tfei. The item was very rusty, and it shows that it came from antiquity, from an ancient time, and therefore he could keep it, saying that it's from the Goyim. Now, the obvious question over here is, but if it's on my property, then why don't I acquire it with the kinyan of Chatzar? Even if it was the Emoroyim, but it was in my wall, in my heap, on my property, I should acquire it because it's on my property. And so Taisa says a very big novelty over here, that something that's hidden, and I might not have never known about it unless you found it, my chutzner doesn't automatically acquire it for me, which is a very big chiddush. B'kaisel chadash, if however there's my property, which abuts on the public domain, there's a hole that goes all the way through its width, and Yitzi Muller is walking, and he finds something inside the wall. So says the Mishnah, B'kaisel chadash, if it's a new wall, so mechetzia l'chutz, the half that fronts the public domain, Shalah Yitzi could keep it. If it's mechetzia l'fnim, but if it's the half that faces towards, let's say it was Shelley's property, the half that faces Shelley's property, that belongs to Shelley. So the Gemara tells us, well, not always is the case this way. Amar Rav Ashi, sakina, if it's a knife, basar kata, we go after the handle. So if the handle is facing the street, so then Yitzi could keep it. If the handle is facing Shelley's property, then Shelley gets it. Vikisa basar shinseha. And same thing if it would be a pocketbook, we go basar where the straps are. If the straps are on Shelley's side, it belongs to Shelley. If the straps on the public side, so then Yitzi, who found it, could keep it. So the Gemara says, so then what's the case? What's the case of our Mishnah? Vela masnis in the Ketani mechetzia l'chut shaloi, mechetzia l'fnin shel balabayis. Our Mishnah that says that if it's in the outer half, it belongs to Yitzi. If it's in the inner half, it belongs to Sheli. Why don't we look where the straps are, where the handle is? If the handle's on the inside, the handle's on the outside. He shouldn't say legav if the straps are on the inside. He shouldn't say levar. So the Gemara answers simply, it's talking about something that doesn't have a handle or straps. Masnis and bu'udra, it's talking about a ball of wool or a ball of cotton. The nasta or piece of bullion doesn't have any handle, it doesn't have any straps. So if the bullion is in the outer half, so then Yitzik could keep it. If it's in the inner half, so then Sheli keeps it. Tana im man, if the width of the wall is full of the cotton, it's full of the bullion, says the Gemara Cholkin. So we divide it equally between Sheli and Yitzi. So the Gemara says, well, Pshita, isn't that obvious? We said, the inner half belongs to Sheli, the outer half belongs to Yitzi. So obviously, if it's filled from beginning to end, shouldn't it be split? In that door? Says the Gemara, Leitzricha de Mishpa Bechad Gisa, where it's tilted to one side. Let's say the wall is tilting towards the public area. I might think that really initially everything was in the inner half, and when the wall started to tilt, it went from the inner half more towards the outside. So maybe everything out the same as it tilted out, and really it started, and everything should go to Sheli. Kamash Malan, that we don't say that. If the house was rented to others, even if Yitzi finds it in the inner half, because there were a lot of renters, and since there were a lot of renters, we don't know which renter it belongs to. So the Gemara asks, why don't you say it belongs to the last renter? Why don't we say that it belongs to the last one that rented the house? Money that was found in Eretz Yisrael in front of people that sell cattle. So the way it works is people would always bring up their money in the first, second, fourth, and fifth year of the Shemitah cycle. The second tithe had to be spent in Yerushalayim. And most people would buy animals and bring shlamim with it, which they would eat the meat from the shlamim. So throughout the year, most money that was by the people that sold the animals, la'ila ma'aser, is assumed to be ma'aser sheni. But Har HaBayis, most money found on the Har HaBayis. Now the Har HaBayis, the majority of money in Eretz Yisrael throughout the year is, of course, chulin. On the Har HaBayis, the Har HaBayis was never swept. Because first of all, it was a mountain. So all the dirt went down naturally. It was blown off. And number two, you aren't allowed to go there with shoes. You aren't allowed to go there with dirty feet. So they never swept it. So therefore, the majority of the money there is chulin, because the majority of money is non-sacred money. Ubi Yerushalayim, in Yerushalayim, b'shar Yemaisash, the rest of the year, the majority is chulin. B'shas regel, but during the regel, when everybody comes up, aliyah l'regel, so everybody's bringing up their money of ma'aser sheni. So there, hakol ma'aser. Now, what's the difference between the Har HaBayis? That on the Har HaBayis, even during the regalim, it's still assumed to be chulin. So the Gemara says that's because the Har HaBayis, they didn't sweep. Says, as the Gemara says, my time, what's the reason? The streets of Yerushalayim, where people go with their shoes, and it's straight flat land, so the wind doesn't blow away the dirt. It's swept every day. So therefore, during the rest of the year, it's chulin. But around the time of the regel, we assume it's meiser. So that means that we say that the original stuff was taken away, and it's what's most recently there that we assume it is. So Alma Amrina Kamoy Kamoy Ozli, the older stuff was taken away, and this money is the most recent money. So here too we should say that the money in the wall was from the last renter. Anything else would have been removed. Vahani de Basro, and this is the last renter. So says the Gemara, as we welcome everybody, Pesach Siegelman who's joined us, Rabbi Kranz who's joined us, A. Barbach, Jay Siegel is on YouTube, not YouTube, Facebook. David Helfgott on Kololoshin. Says the Gemara, Barish, are you not feeling well? What? So why are you all the way back there? What? I would prefer if you come up, because this way I don't have to project all the way back there.
I can move over?
Yeah, let's move over one seat. That's all.
Rabbi, the last I heard, Barry had pneumonia.
Oh no. Oh, Barry has pneumonia. Pinchas Menachem ben Leah. We have to daven for him. Pinchas Menachem ben Leah should have a refuah shalema b'seich shachar Yisrael. Ay, he's not catching a break, is he? Wow. His boisterous, thank you, Barish. I like you to be up closer anyway, you know. I feel good, you know. I like to keep my friends up close. So therefore the Gemara says, Amrei Shlokish Bishum Bar Kapara, Kigain She'asu Pundik L'Shloish Yisrael. He made it, he rented it out to 3 Yidden. So you don't know whose it is. And therefore, we don't know whose it is. So the Gemara says, you mean to tell me that this is a raya that we paskin like Reb Shimon Elazar, that you don't have to return an article even if the majority are Yidden? Shmami na alach Reb Shimon Elazar afilu b'roiv Yisrael. Ela Amar Menashe bar Yaakov kigain she'asel pundik l'shloisha ivdei kachavim. He rented it to 3 goyim. Now Rashi says quickly that the Gemara could have answered just 1 guy, and that's why Yitzi gets to keep the whole thing, because he doesn't have to return it to a guy. The only reason it says 3 goyim is to parallel what it said 3 yidden, but really it means that he rented it to a guy, and that's why that's an easy answer. That's why you don't have to return it. Rab Nachman Amar Rabba Bavur. Rab Nachman says in the name Rabba Bavur, Afilu Tema L'Shloishi Yisrael, even if it's 3 yidden. Why? My timer Hahu Dinafel Minei Miyayish. The one who put it there. Meimar Amar, he says to himself, Michtei, Inish Achrina Loihavi Bahadei Elahani. The only people that are here in the apartment is the other 2 guys, right? And I said them many times before them that I lost it. Imre Kamayu Kamne Zimne, I already said in front of them many times, Lahadruli, that if you saw it, please return it to me. V'loi hadruli, says the Gemara, are they going to return it now? If they would have meant to return it, they would have returned it to me. The reason why they didn't is each one is comfortable if I accost them. They'll say, well, the other guy took it. They're planning to keep it. And therefore, since there were 3 people, therefore the owner gave up hope, and therefore Yitzi could keep it. The Ozda Rav Nachman L'tamei, Rav Nachman goes according to his reasoning. The Amar Rav Nachman, Raw Sela, this is very interesting, Raw Sela Shenofal Mishnayim. If you saw a coin that fell from 2 people, in other words, 2 people were walking, and from amongst the 2 people, a coin fell. Chayiv lahazer. You have to return it. Says the Gemara, my timer. Hahu denafel minei loy miyayish. The one who dropped it is not going to be miyayish. Meimer Omer, he's going to say to himself, Michte inashakrina loy havi ba'adoi elahai. Nobody is with me except for the person I was walking with. Nakiknele, I'm going to grab him. Va'anminale, and I'm going to say, Antu deshaklase, you must have taken it. Because you're the only guy that's here. So therefore, he doesn't give up hope. And therefore, if you find it, since he doesn't give up hope, you have to return it to him. However, Bishleisha, if it fell amongst 3 people, and this is exactly what Rav Nachman said, Bishleisha ain't a chayiv lahazer. My time, the one it fell from is going to be miyayish. Meimer Amar, there were 2 people there. If I grab a hold of one of them, he'll say the other one took it. And if I grab a hold of the other person, so therefore he gives up hope. Amar Rava, that's only if there wasn't 3 prutas. That's only if there wasn't a value of a pruta for each one. Because if there is at least 3 prutas, then you have to be concerned that they were all partners. Because then nobody is going to give up hope, because he figures his partner picked it up, and they're partners. My timer. They're partners. Now, there's another version that Rava says that even if there's 3 people and there's 2 coins, 2 prutas, even if it's less than 3, it's 2 prutas, still chayiv lahazer. Why? Because we could say they were all partners, but one of them said, you know what, I relinquish, it's not so much, I relinquish it to the other 2. My time ema shutfininu. And one of them said, you know what, since it's not really divisible by 3, I give up my portion to the other 2. The Amarava, Raw Sela Shenafla, if you saw a coin that fell from somebody's pocket. Now, he didn't get a chance to be miyayish. Now, we said by coins, people check their pockets. But you saw it fall, and as soon as you saw it fall, as soon as they turned their back, you chopped it up. Now, the person didn't have a chance to be miyayish yet. Remember, we said yish shaloi midas is not yish, because we paskin like Abaya. So listen to this case. I mean, this is a case that's worthy of a real crook. Let's see, where's Marshall when we need him? Where's Marshall? All right, so I see Elliot has this sardonic grin on his face. Okay, so what happens over here is that Stephen drops the coin. Before he even realizes that he dropped it, Elliot scoops it up to steal it. He's going to play a great game of pinball. He knows a pinball machine where they still give 5 balls, no 3 balls, not for Elliot. They still give 5 balls. And he's going to have himself a really good time, right? So the question is, how many Averis did he do for this pinball game? So the Gemara says, we throw the book at him. Mamish throw the book at him. Listen to this Gemara. It's a very interesting Gemara. Gemara says, Ra Sela Shenafla, if he sees the coin fall from Stephen, not lo lifnei yish, if he took it before Stephen had a chance to be miyayish, al manas legoizla, and he took it to keep it, not to return it. Over bekulan, he's over 2 lavin and 1 asay. Mishum loy sigzel, because he stole it. Or mishum hashev teshivim, he's mavatal l'mitzvah asay daraisa of returning it, because Stephen wasn't miyayish, so he has to return it. And mishum loy suchal l'salim, there's a law that you're not supposed to avoid a lost article. And he made nishvisendik. He's keeping it for himself. V'afal gav dechazra la'achayish. If a week goes by, now by now Stephen checked his pocket and he was miyayish. And now Elliot says, you know what? Here, I stole it for the pinball game and I tilted the machine. I didn't get any benefit out of it. It's a sign I should return it to Stephen. And he returns it to Stephen after Stephen was already miyayish. He doesn't fulfill the mitzvah of Eishav Esagzela. Says the Gemara, La'acha yish matanu diyavle. He just gave him a gift. Be'isur the of it. The isur he did already. Now, not lo lifnei yish, if he picked it up before Stephen was miyayish, al manas la'azira, he had plans to return it. Elliot is a good guy, and he has plans to return it. However, a few days later, ula'achar yish, after Stephen was miyayish, it got the better of him. He decided he wants to buy some bubble gum. Niskavein legoizla, now if he wants to steal it, so over mishum hashev tishivein. So here, it's not theft, because Stephen already gave up hope. He didn't avoid returning it, because when he picked it up, he was planning to return it. The only thing that is he's mavatal the mitzvah saseh of hashev teshivim, because now he's not returning it. He's buying bubble gum. Himtin lo achinis yashu habaylim. He saw here. Elliot tries to beat the system. He sees it. He says, "I'm not going to pick it up right away," because Stephen wasn't miyayish yet. He waits a week. And then he picks it up. Now he knows that Stephen was already miyayish. So says the Gemara, Himtin lo achin is yashu abaylam. Stephen is being, he found, what are they called? Cougarans? He found a gold cougaran. Right? It's a lot of money. And he says, I'm not going to pick it up right away. I'm going to wait a week until Stephen knows he's missing it and he's miyayish, and then I'll pick it up so I can keep it. So him telachin is yashu abaylam and not laying over that week that he avoided picking it up to return the lost article, he's over loisukal isale. Amarava. Hayman de chazi de nafel zuze mechavre bechalsa. What happened is that Dr. Yudel was walking behind Stephen, and he sees Stephen drop money into the sand. Now, you're never going to find money in the sand. It's a needle in the haystack. So, what? So, Vashkeche, he found it. Vishakla, and Dr. Yudel kept it. And he took it. He's not mechayiv to return it, because there's no chance. Stephen knows you're never going to find it in the sand. My time, I wouldn't enough of name Yeshu. Now, but what happens if Dr. Yudel comes and sees Stephen by the beach with a metal detector, and he's going through the sand with a metal detector? Could he still think that Stephen was miyayish? Says in Gemara, Afal gav the chazia the aisi arbala. Now, at the time of the Gemara, they didn't have a metal detector. Even though he saw him coming with a sifter, and he was sifting the sand, the marble, he was sifting the sand. That doesn't mean that he wasn't miyayish. What it means is Steve said, I just like I lost something, maybe other people lost something. It's a good place to use a metal detector. Just like something fell for me, maybe something fell from somebody else, and I'll find something. But what he lost, he doesn't know where he dropped it, that he gave up hope of finding. Now the next Mishnah is a simple idea. If you find money in a store where everybody is roaming around, and therefore any moment somebody could pick it up, so the owner gives up hope, the one who dropped it gives up hope. But in the area between the grocer and the counter, nobody goes there except the grocer. So in the area between the grocer and the counter, shalchan, that belongs to the grocer. Lifnei shulchani, if you find coins in front of the money changer, in other words, he has a desk, and in front of the desk you find coins, you could keep it. Bein akisei u'shulchani, but if you find it in front, between the desk and the money changer, inside, that belongs to the money changer. If you buy fruit from your friend, or your friend sends you fruit, and in the basket you find money, and in the basket you find money, you could keep it. Now, the Gemara will talk about why don't you say that it belongs to the one that sent you the fruit. However, if it was bundled up with a distinctive bundling, or it was several bundles, so the number is a siman, then then you have to announce it. So now the Gemara asks, what if it says that if you found it in front of the money changer's table, it belongs to you? If you find it between the table and the money changer, it belongs to the money changer. What about if you find it on the table itself? Amar Rebbe Eliezer, afilu monachin al gabei shulchan. Even if the money is on the table, right? In other words, you didn't find it in front of the table, but you found it on the table. It belongs to the one who found it. Amar Rebbe Eliezer, afilu menachin al gabei shulchan. Even if it's on the table itself, it belongs to the one that finds. Now, the Gemara says, but the Mishnah is not mashma that way. It says, Tanan, lifnei shulchanim, in front of the table, ari elu shalim. That's mashma, but on the table, it belongs to the money changer. Ha al gabei shulchan, the shulchani. So the Gemara says, yeah, but there's a diak the opposite from the second part. Amos say for bein akisei ulu shulchani, between the chair of the money changer and the table, Ari shel shulchani, mashma, but al gabe shulchan, but on the table itself, shaloi. So we have contradictory implications. Elameo lek elamishmamina. Rebbe Lazar, how does he know that Taka, if Gedalia is walking by the money changer and he finds it on the table, he could keep it? Rebbe Lazar haminale, amarava masnisin kashise. Ma'ir yadetani bein akise l'shulchani. Why does it say between the chair, the chair and the shulchani? In other words, between the desk and the shulchani, it should say a bigger chiddush on the desk itself. Lisnei ala shulchan. From the fact that it doesn't say that, it must be that on the table belongs to Gedalia. Inami, or else the diak is because just like it says matzah b'chanais, if you found it in the store, here it should say if you found it on the table, because that's the store of the money changer. Inami, it should have said matzah b'shulchanis k'diktani reisha matzah b'chanais shaloi elashmami na. From the fact that it only says between the kisei and the money changer, it doesn't say on the table. Even if it's on the table, it belongs to the one that finds it. Okay, we're going to stop over here. Remember, tomorrow night, Shir is at 10:02. Now we're going to learn the Mishnah Yomis.